What do you say? What do you know? Hard crack. Get a little liquid courage. Make sure that can't. There we go. All right, all right. What do you say? What do you know? It is college football week 2 preview. We're gonna knock this out real quick. We got Thursday, we got Friday night football. Packers playing Eagles. We're up 2.5. So let's get into it. Big games in the FBS in the top 25 this week. Week 2. We got some Friday night games. I know they're already started, but tune in to Duke and Northwestern. Northwestern's -2.5. I like Northwestern at home. They got that fancy football field, so tune in now. It's already currently going on, but I'll take Northwestern late at -2.5. It's a 7-3 game, so it's nothing too crazy. It's not like I knew anything beforehand. We got 19 Kansas at Illinois. -4.5 out of conference Big 12, Big 10 matchup. I like Illinois on the road or at home +4.5. So I'll take them, lock that in. It's going to be a really good game to tune into. You got a first Big 12, Big 10 rivalry. You got Pitt at Cincy. Cincy's a -2 favorite. That's a big rivalry game. That's going to be a good game. Tune into that. I'll take Cincy at home at -2. We got Marshall at Virginia Tech. Go Herd. Back in the day, back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, I went to school at Marshall. And we played, and Virginia Tech came into town. So Marshall's a 20-point favorite. I'm taking Marshall, Marshall's a 20-point underdog. I'm taking Marshall at +20 on the road at Virginia Tech. South Carolina at Kentucky. Kentucky's an 8.5-point favorite. I love that match. It's going to be a great SEC slobber knocker game at Kroger Field in Kentucky. I like that. I like that setup. USF at Bama. I am taking USF. You heard it here first. I am taking USF at +30.5. They're going to cover that spread. They're going to make this game interesting. I know it's on the road. I know it's in Tuscaloosa. Give me USF at +30.5. Great year for USF. Played them well last year. I like what they're doing. I really do. I would not be surprised at all if they did well. Army and FAU. Army is traveling. Army doesn't normally travel, and they're traveling to FAU, and FAU is a 2-point favorite at home. I'm locking in the Owls. I like FAU. That's going to be a really good game. Make sure you tune into that. Just make sure everything is. We've got an upset alert that I'm going to hit you now so you can lock that in. Boise State at Oregon. Oregon is a 20-point favorite. I am going to take Boise State money line. I am taking Boise State to win that game. Boise State needs a reason to get into the top 5 and win that conference, and beating Oregon is going to be one of those. So give me Boise State at +20 to win that game. I am hammering that. I don't even care. Lock it in. I'm excited. You got 17 Kansas State at Tulane. Great test for Kansas State on the road. Tulane's a good team out of the American. They're a threat to win the American. They're an outside team looking in to get into the top 5, win that conference and get in. I don't think an American conference team will going to get in based on other conferences having other teams that are better. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Kansas State and Tulane. I think Kansas State will get it done, but keep an eye out for Tulane. If conferences and teams fall, you might see Tulane sneak in at the American, but I don't think so. I think they're outside looking in. You got Iowa State and Iowa. You got a rivalry game in week 2. What's better than a rivalry game in week 2? Cheers. Let me get a quick sip here. That's a Big 12, Big 10 matchup. Couldn't be happier. Couldn't like that in. And Iowa's a -3. Let me hammer Iowa at -3. Big 10 over Big 12, 4 days. I love an early test for Iowa. Iowa wants to prove who they are, contend in the new Big 10. I like Iowa. Give me Iowa at -3. I'm taking Iowa all day. Hammer, 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 hammer. Can Iowa actually keep up the offense? They had offense last week. I was shocked. Can it be 2 weeks in a row where they have offense, or is it going to be punt, 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 punt? Iowa State will score points. They're a Big 12. They don't have defense, but they will score points, so tune in for that. That is going to be a really good game. Arkansas and Oklahoma State. Again, this new college setup, you're having rivalry games all week long. So, we got Arkansas and Oklahoma State. Great early matchup for Oklahoma State. Good test for Arkansas to go on the road and give Oklahoma State some issues. Arkansas is really looking to set a tone early, and I think this game will really set a tone for their program to see where they are on the spectrum and where they are going to go. It's a great test for Oklahoma State to say, okay, you know, we have a good team coming in while we're at home. Let's see what we can do. Really like that game. I think it's a good test for both teams. Arkansas, you have an ability to get yourself an opportunity. Don't waste it. Virginia and Wake Forest. Let me get it. Wake Forest at -2. Let me get Wake Forest at -2. Great ACC battle. Some upset teams in the ACC. Both Virginia and Wake Forest were talked about as like maybe squeaking in, giving some trouble. I think both teams will be able to pull upsets on teams that are the known winners in the ACC. So I'm really looking forward to that game. Give me Wake Forest at -2 at home. The Demon Deacons do well at home. Great road test for Virginia, and I think both those teams are going to be talked about in the ACC, whether they're on upset alert or not. So let's get into the big games. So we got Colorado, Nebraska in primetime, and then we got, in my opinion, number 25 Georgia Tech at Syracuse. So we'll start with Georgia Tech, Syracuse. So Georgia Tech is ranked in the top 25. Good for them. I can't remember the last time Georgia Tech was ranked in the top 25. So good test for Georgia Tech. On the road, McCord went off last week. McCord tore up Ohio, and I understand that's Ohio in the MAC, but he did pretty well at Ohio State, and he's a good quarterback, and I think the Syracuse has a good offense under McCord, so that's going to be a really good test for Georgia Tech's defense, and a good test to see where McCord is via Ohio State McCord and Syracuse McCord. So I'm really looking forward to that. Good test for Georgia Tech. Are they for real? Can they win this game? Be like, hey, we're knocking on our door, don't mess with us, and that'll even better up Georgia Tech's opportunity to play even bigger spoilers in the ACC, so I'm really looking forward to that. And last but not least, Colorado, Nebraska. Colorado is -7.5. Oh, I'm taking Georgia Tech, by the way, on the road. Whatever the spread is, whatever the money line is, I'm taking Georgia Tech. Colorado, Nebraska. Nebraska is -7.5. I am hammering Nebraska. I think Matt Rhule has got Nebraska right where they need to be. They are about it. People aren't talking about him. He wants them to be talked about. I am hammering Nebraska. Give me everything in Nebraska over Colorado. I'm taking it. I think it's a huge test for Nebraska to say, hey, you got to start talking about us. I think Colorado had an eye-opener against San Diego State, or North Dakota State. And I think Nebraska is going to get a good test, finally a good road opponent to come in, and they need questions to be answered. I think they're going to answer those questions. Give me Nebraska. I think Nebraska's defense, I think Nebraska's offense is exactly where it needs to be. I really like Nebraska, so I think Nebraska's going to do well this year in the Big Ten. They're going to do a lot better than what they've done. I think Colorado's going to hit a speed bump here, and it's going to kind of derail their season. So give me Nebraska. I really want to see how Nebraska and Colorado game goes. Really want to get into it. Some big questions after week 1. FSU, UF, Clemson. Question mark, question mark, question mark. I think out of all those 3 teams, I think FSU is their thing. I think they have a lot more questions. I think Clemson, with no transfer portals, you knew what to expect. And I think UF, with this freshman quarterback, you might have a few slimmers of high hope, but I think FSU is the worst of those 3. And if Dabo doesn't bring in transfers, which he won't because he doesn't have any to bring in, it's going to be rough for both of those teams, and I think all 3 of those teams win an average of like 4 to 5 games. Is Georgia for real? Time will tell. Ole Miss is an SEC threat. I think they are. I've been hammering SEC since preseason. I really like the Ole Miss. New look Notre Dame. I'm hammering them as well. I'm on the hype train. I really like Notre Dame to squeak into the playoffs this year at like a 6-7 seed. I really like that. Boston College and Bill O'Brien is a perfect match made in heaven. I love it. I could not wait to see what that brings. I'm really excited for Boston College and the ACC to bring some upset alert and bring some Bill O'Brien energy. I love that matchup. Texas A&M, you guys are okay. Your schedule plays off and helps you guys get your thing done. So I'm not sweating Texas A&M yet. Your schedule helps you, so I wouldn't really bail on Texas A&M just yet. Let them do their thing. So that's where week 2 stands. I didn't bet on every single college football top 25 and FBS game this week. A little busy with NFL starting their season and college football just now getting started. I'm still trying to think if I'm going to bet on every single game and run through it and talk to you guys for an extra 10 minutes saying North Dakota State at blank will win blank and just label off 30 games. I'm trying to just test the water. So I gave you a few games here, so like 10 or 12 matchups, and we'll see where those bets go, and we'll come back next week. Tune in tonight as well. I'm going to unleash my top 12 playoff bracket. I have my bracket right here. I'm going to tell you my conference winners and my 12-team bracket. So tune in, and we'll go from there, and I'm looking forward to releasing my playoff bracket. So that's week 2 preview. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe our YouTube channel, The Bumpcast. We appreciate you. Yep. Go Pack, go.